in Zurich for those talks. Nawal, a very warm welcome to the programme. First of all, Nawal, what's the level of expectation, both from the ceasefire and from these talks? Is there optimism that things are more ripe and ready for progress?
I think it depends on the way you look at it. If you look at it from how the feeling is towards the diplomatic kind of efforts that are going into these talks, then yes, people are optimistic. There's a lot more preparation that's gone into these round of talks in comparison to those that happened in late May. There's been a sequence of talks that have happened in Oman, and sources from both sides have told me that they're going in with the intention to resolve the conflict. But if you look at what's actually happening on the ground, then it just makes it seem like these talks are hopeless. Both sides have advanced, lots of civilians were killed, I think around 22 by a Saudi airstrike yesterday, and then today you have two very important commanders that were killed by the Houthis. And so it really depends from what lens you look at it.
And Nawal, what were the big sticking points back in June? I'm guessing some of those still exist, but from the sounds of what you're saying, some progress has been made behind the scenes. So where are we on the big sort of sticking point issues?
I think back then in May, the situation in Yemen was not as bad as it is now. And the government and the Saudi-led coalition were advancing. They retook Aden, they liberated Aden, and there was movement on the ground. But now they've reached a stalemate. For the last couple of months, nothing has really changed on the ground. They've been battling over Taiz, but neither side has won. And I think both sides have come to realize at this point that a military victory is, a complete military victory is just impossible for both sides. And so the best way out of this war is through diplomatic negotiations. And
now, I'm wondering if a further issue potentially could be is that whatever's decided at, during these talks, is that will then have to translate onto the ground. So whatever's agreed here essentially will have to be then translated and put into practice on the ground. And that sounds to me like that in itself is going to be a very difficult journey.
Definitely. It's going to be a process. The thing is about these talks, last time they went in with the intention of imposing the UN Resolution 2216. The government and the Saudis were not willing to compromise on any of the points of UN Resolution 2216. But since then, a lot has changed. They're willing to use UN Resolution 2216 as a starting point and to discuss the points on it. Already the UN envoy has said that we need to be flexible with regards to the UN resolution because they realize that trying to set back time and to ask for the Houthis to go back to Sada after everything that's happened is impossible because there'll be a complete power vacuum. So I think the fact that they've changed the basis of where to start the talks means that there could be progress this time round.
Let's hope so. Nawal Al-maghafi there joining me from Zurich. Nawal, thank you very much for your analysis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, President Obama has warned ISIL leaders that the US-led coalition will hunt them down one by one. He made that comment during a briefing after chairing a National Security Council meeting on his country's campaign against the group. Al Jazeera's White House correspondent Patty Culhane has the latest.